Hey, this is Timo from Padel FYI, and today we're going to go over how long paddle rackets last, when do you need to replace them, and how to make them last longer. First, 99% of my viewers are not subscribers, which is totally fine, but if you think this video is interesting, maybe click that red button. Also, if you want tips on which racket could fit you best, please comment below your level, playing style, and last racket, and I'll get back to you with my suggestion. All right, back to the show. So to answer the question, paddle rackets last about 100 matches, or roughly a year for a recreational player playing a couple matches per week. Of course, that number scales up or down with the number of matches you play, your playing style, and the materials and construction of the racket. It's really important to replace an old racket from a health perspective because the vibrations from an old racket can irritate joints and cause tennis elbow problems. So let's go over quickly what a racket is made of. First, you have a tubular frame, usually two tubes of carbon fiber very close together that are wrapped around the edge of the racket. And then you have a foam core, often called goma for rubber in Spanish, that goes inside of those tubes, and you have a skin that wraps around the whole thing. That's either carbon fiber or fiberglass. So these pieces are glued with epoxy and then baked together. And any of these parts can be broken traumatically or gradually over many shots. Old rackets, of course, display certain symptoms. You'll see lower ball output. That is, the ball will bounce less from a tired foam that doesn't recover its original shape. Testea, a facility related to a university in Valencia, Spain, did a really interesting study on racket durability recently. They noticed that after 500 test shots, some rackets actually felt harder and some rackets actually felt softer. Older rackets will have this deeper thump sound upon impact, and you'll also get dead balls coming from the sweet spot. Factors impacting racket durability. So there's two main things here, basically. You have a style of play, so advanced players constantly smashing will wear through rackets much more quickly. Pros often are switching rackets around once a month. Hard rackets will last longer than soft rackets. So a hard carbon fiber surface will last longer than fiberglass surface, and a harder EVA ethyl vinyl acetate foam will last longer than a softer poly foam. So when do you need to replace your racket? So there's a few signs that you can pay attention to. We'll go over those real quickly. The most common reason for replacing a racket is when you have cracks through the surface, that is the carbon fiber or the fiberglass surface. So we'll go over these different types of cracks. So you have crack on the racket face from one hole to the other. You have ones going from one of these holes to the edge of the racket face, or along the edge, or on the seam of where the carbon fiber is put together on the flat side of the edge of the racket head. So it's good to think about what your next switch should be. These cracks are different from the superficial paint chips that do not break through the surface. These are normal. They often happen disappointingly early with paddle rackets, but they're not something to really worry about in terms of the racket's health. It's not going to affect your gameplay. Also, we have the frame getting broken. So this is maybe the worst way that a racket can be broken. This often occurs when two players attempt to hit the same ball and hit their rackets together. You have this really loud crack sound. And in this case, you should probably replace your racket as soon as possible. They will have very unpredictable behavior. The whole racket will basically fall apart very quickly because the structure is kind of not there. So how do you make your racket last longer? So it's two main things: storage and playing style. So storing your racket away from sun, temperature swings, humidity, heavy objects. So basically the core of the racket, this foam is super delicate. It absorbs whatever is in its environment. So with water, it's gonna expand. And then when it's in a dry environment, then the foam is going to contract. And this will cause premature aging. Similarly, the heating and cooling resulting from leaving the racket in the sun or hot or cold temperature, this does damage to the foam. It basically results in the epoxy that glues everything together to become disconnected. This is really important to avoid leaving your racket in the car. So this is why a lot of manufacturers now deliver a racket with a thermal case that's not really going to protect it from really large temperature swings, but it can help with minor ones. And I think it's really important to use those. They're very inexpensive. You get one for 10 euros. You also want to avoid compression. So storing your racket vertically where you won't have a heavy object dropping on it and compressing the face will avoid having the foam being prematurely aged. So a paddle racket bag will help with a lot of these things, right? So it'll help you store them vertically, have some padding around to avoid compression, and also often come with thermal insulation. Another thing, playing conscientious. So 2 comments here. I broke a racket while hitting mine against a partner, so I'm quite careful on ambiguous balls in the middle when I don't know where my partner is. And secondly, I don't think it's good to take your frustration out on your racket. It's not really a good look. And it's good to appreciate your racket because it brings you so much fun. One additional thing, you can use super glue to have some kind of temporary fixes on your racket. So if you see a crack happen, you can immediately put some super glue on it, maybe when you get home from that match. And that's gonna help you keep the surface from spreading out as fast as it otherwise would. You can also get DIY repair kits from Amazon, or there are some pros online where you can send a racket and they'll do kind of a more professional carbon fiber fix on it. The repair kits from Amazon are about 30 euros. So that's it. Paddle rackets are very expensive temporary objects, but they do bring us so much fun. So let's take care of them. Any questions, please drop a comment. And if this was helpful at all, please subscribe. I'm cooking up some super fun episodes for you guys. Wishing you a great next match. Thank you.